There are four questions on the quiz. I will scroll down in a few minutes. Thank you. Okay, everybody done? All right, I'll take that as a yes. There's your bubble. It's cold. Do you need more clothes? All right, let's get started. Hope the lighting is okay. It's early here. Let's see. How's that? Good? All right, here we are. Um, Hong Sun.
Hello, teacher.
Hey, you want to read?
Yes.
Okay,
Uh,
read.
One, an omniscient being perceived, perceives all existing objects. Some of these objects are changing, and some are unchanging. This prove that the mind of an omniscient being must be changing thing. Tibetan tract also give Tibetan for omniscient, changing thing, unchanging thing, subject mind, and object of the mind. Yeah.
All right. Good. Anybody? Um, why do you think if omniscient being is perceiving changing and unchanging things, they must have a mind which is changing?
Because they're perceiving changing things.
So what?
If their mind was unchanging, it would not be able to perceive changing things. Because if
Fine.
it did, it would change. It would be changing.
If they didn't, it would be changing?
If it once they do perceive changing things, that means the mind is changing.
Why?
Because changing things change.
So what?
If an unchanging thing does something, it is a changing thing.
But what's it doing? The thing is doing the thing, not their mind.
The mind is a thing that is doing the thing of observing the changing thing.
Yay! Okay, you finally said it. Good. Yeah, perceiving the perception or the observation of the changing thing is a change. So therefore, it must be a changing thing. Good. Um, good job. Anybody, what's omniscience? Excuse me, in Tibetan.
잠시 simple.
Close. Pomche Kenpa. Yeah, Sempa is mind or thinking, perhaps. Um, but Kempa is to know, so all knowing. Good. A changing thing, Tibetan.
Takpa, not changing. Mitakpa, changing.
Unchanging is mitakpa, and changing is, wait, sorry. Takpa means changing, and mitakpa is unchanging, right? Okay.
I think
Uh, unless did I do it backwards? Sometimes I do it backwards. Um, Takpa means forever. So that means unchanging. Yeah, the opposite. So mitakpa is changing. Yeah, good. If that's what you said, you're right, Alicia. Um, and subject mind? Hmm?
you.
Yul Chen is subject mind, and then object of the mind?
You.
Yeah, Yul. Yeah.
Yeah.
Subject mind literally means the thing that holds an object or has an object. Good. What Maria says, as the mind follows the changing object, it changes. That is, it must move and change with the changing object. Um, Tamche Kempa, omniscient. Tamche all, Kempa knowing. Mi takpa, not permanent, meaning changing. And then takpa, permanent, meaning unchanging. Yul chen, that which holds the object or has an object, and yul, um, the object. Cool. All right. Very good. Um, Question 2. Who's here? Ina, do you want to read it? Ina Matvichuk? Don't mind my bad pronunciation of your name.
Suppose, thank you.
Mhm.
Suppose,
Go ahead.
suppose it is true that if the mind changing object, it must. Does this also mean that mind is changing when it perceives an unchanging object?
Haha. Yeah, I was thinking that. I was gonna I was gonna use this argument against Maria for her our debate. Um, yeah. What do you think, Maria?
If it,
You said if the mind sees a changing object, it's changing. Therefore, if a mind sees an unchanging object, must be unchanging.
if the mind is doing the seeing, it is changing.
Yeah, but it's seeing something that's not changing, so therefore it doesn't change to see it.
But it is seeing it through a period of time.
Nope, no period. Unchanging.
Okay, it doesn't only sees unchanging things.
But we're only talking about unchanging things.
Just because we're only talking about unchanging things doesn't mean it only perceives unchanging things.
The question clearly states the mind is unchanging when it perceives an unchanging object.
Okay, the question asks, does this also mean that the mind is unchanging when it perceives an unchanging object? And the answer to that question is no. It does not mean that.
Therefore, when it sees a changing object, it doesn't change.
The mind is doing a thing of perception. No matter what object it perceives, it is changing by the fact that it's doing an action.
She's right. Good. You read this, Maria. You earned it.
No, the mind flits around as it perceives an unchanging object. It rests upon the object and departs from it continually. Additionally, the mind is caused, and all caused things are changing.
Yeah. Even if the mind is perceiving an unchanging thing, it's perceiving in a way that is changing, which is what Maria said. I still had to mess with her. All right, good. All right. Thank you, translators, for dealing with me. Um, Anastasia Komenko, do you want to read? I don't know if you're how your English reading is. Maybe not. Okay. Kimchi, do you want to read?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please
Yes,
read.
if they assert that the only omniscient being is only who created the world, explain why such a being could not have been omniscient.
Okay.
Tibetan text.
Oh, wait. You got to read it again. You got to read it again. Read the first sentence again. Slowly.
Yeah, it is asserted that the only
Asserted. Asserted.
asserted
Yes.
that the only omniscient being is one who created the world.
Okay, good. Good, good.
Thank
Yeah,
you, teacher.
you're welcome. Okay, good. Yeah, so there's only one omniscient guy being. Um, why why could not that such a being could not have been omniscient? So someone
Try.
comes along and says the only omniscient being is one who created the world, right? Not your Buddha. And so we have to explain why such a being could not have been omniscient. What's
Can
the
I try?
huh?
Can I try?
Sure.
A being who came into the world at at once and never knew suffering cannot be omniscient.
How come?
Um,
What do you think?
because he don't know the suffering of this world. To be omniscient, he must know what every living being feels, every suffering of its development. To
That's true. I
yeah,
mean, well, it's definitely true if you're omniscient, you have to know what every being is feeling. Um, okay, good job. You read this, Olesya.
the omniscience of such a being would have, I don't see this, would have to be either a changing thing or an unchanging thing.
Mhm.
It can be an unchanging thing because the being is perceiving changing phenomena.
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 Yeah.
If the being's omniscience is a changing thing, then it must have come from causes, and so he would have had to be caused. In that case, he couldn't always have been omniscient.
Yeah. I mean, the most basic argument is, um, if the omniscient being created the world, who created them? And if you say they created them, you have to say when did they create them? And if you say when And if you say, well, they had to create them before, so were they omniscient before they created themselves as omniscient? Therefore, they didn't create themselves as omniscient. Therefore, they didn't create them, and therefore they weren't created, and therefore they can't create because they're not changing. Get it? I know. But it's basic argument against God. I'm sorry, Christians, I love you. Uh, the whole God thing doesn't make sense. I mean, even little kids know that. You have to brainwash people for them to believe a lot of that stuff. Okay, sorry. Um, my 14-year-old came up to me a couple days ago and was like, "Wait, did they just come up with the idea of God so that people who couldn't understand the real explanation could get it?" And I was like, "Yeah." So if a 14-year-old can figure it out, you can. Um, read this, Alicia. Olesia, can you read this?
Hmm?
The Tibetan?
Tam ceva Wangchuk.
Yeah. What's it mean? The Wangchuk.
Wangchuk. I don't remember it so.
Yeah. Wangchuk means Lord.
Oh, yeah.
It's Ishvara in Sanskrit. Okay. Ishvara is like the god of everything or something. All right. The
Mhm.
Ishvara that Chepad did, made Tamche. Air everything. Everything. Okay? All things, everything. The guy, it's always a guy for some reason. I don't know why. Couple cultures have a gal. The guy who did everything, who made everything. Okay? The creator of the world, the creator of all things. All right? All right. It's just too hard for people to understand. And so they come up with like fairy tales, myths. It's fine. Whatever helps you get through the day, okay? Um, all right, I'll read this one because it's short. Um, what does a person have to know in order to be all-knowing? What is, and the question is, I mean, obviously a person has to know everything to be all-knowing, but what matters the most that you should know to be all-knowing?
I try.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uh, we should know what you need to take up and what you need to give up.
Yeah, okay, good. Um, yeah, and they say, um, yeah, the main thing the Buddha knows that matters is they can tell you the things you should stop doing and the things that you need to do to get yourself out of suffering, to get yourself happy. Okay. And it's true. You know, I've known a lot of smart people in my life, and they're all suffering. Okay. They're all having a hard time. Um, maybe smart people suffer more sometimes because they know more. Okay, because they understand more. Um, a lot of smart people commit suicide, stuff like that, horrible things like that. Um, so it doesn't matter how many facts you know. I mean, that stuff's fun, but at the end of the day, you have to know things that make you happy. All right? Or it's kind of useless. All right. I'll read it. He or she must know perfectly what it is that we must give up in our behavior and worldview and what we must take up in the same. It is not enough to know, for example, the scientific names for all things in the universe or something of the like. All right? Is that this last one? No, two more. All right, good. Mm, mm, Anastasia Panietova, Bodlatska, Chitai.
What two things are included in the afflicted side of existence and what two in the pure side of existence?
Yeah, tell me. Anastasia, what is the afflicted side of existence and what is the pure side?
Suffering and source of suffering, this afflicted side, and end of suffering and path of that is pure side.
Yeah, the path. Yeah. And they say the truths, right? Four noble truths, four Arya truths, more correctly. But truth there doesn't mean like truth, like it's true. It means the fact or the reality. The reality that a samsaric life is suffering, and the reality that there's a cause to that samsaric suffering. Um, and then the flip, um, is the reality that that suffering can end, and the reality that there's a path away from it or out of it. All right. So it's the four Arya truths, the four things you realize after you become an Arya, after you have the direct perception of emptiness, or the four groups of things are kind of more groups or realities than like four facts or something. Something like that. Okay. Um, read this, Anastasia.
These are the four famous noble truths, more accurately called Arya truths, or facts perceived by a person who has just seen emptiness directly. It is important to realize that fact here refers to actual examples of suffering, etc., and not just to principles relating to them. Suffering and the source of suffering are on the afflicted side, the end of suffering and the path of the end of suffering are on the pure side.
Okay, good. How do you say suffering in Tibetan?
Dugniel,
Yeah, good. How do you say your cause in this case?
Gu,
In this case, it's like source. How do you say source or origin, cause? I don't know.
Kunjunva,
Yeah, kunjum. Very good. How do you say end? There's a lot
Gok,
of. Yeah, good. Gokpa. And how do you say path?
Lam,
Yeah, good. You got it. Very good. Um, and denpa here just means truth, the truth of. So Doknel Denpa, the truth, the fact that you're suffering because you are, because you're back pain, because your impending breakup, and because you're dying anyway. Um, Kunjung, the source Denpa, suffering, and Gokden, the fact that it could end if you tried. Lamden, the fact that if you try, you are gonna have to try. All right. Good. All right. Question 6. What evidence do we have that the Buddha is unerring? Unerring? What's the only direct way? How about this? Out of these four, which one can we say is actually happening?
It is the first one, the Duknyal,
Yeah, why though?
because the Buddha explained and describe the
No,
suffering.
I didn't ask you that. Why can we say? Forget the answer. What do you actually think?
Because we can experience and we can evidence the suffering.
English. Why?
Can you repeat the question?
Why is it the first one? Why can someone just say it's the first one is true?
Because everything is suffering. We can prove that.
Yeah. Because we're
We
all suffering.
experiencing.
We're all have problems. Everyone knows we have problems. Everyone knows they have problems. That's all. Simple. Not philosophy. Everyone knows they have problems, therefore the Buddha's right when he says everyone has problems. That's all. The other ones you can't prove because um you're not there yet. If you are there, then Buddha bless you. All right. Read this, Jessica, please.
Um, Sorry, I didn't see it. Okay.
Read the last one. Can you see?
Yeah, now I see it. Of
Okay.
all the people we have ever met or heard of, it is only Lord Buddha uh, who have uh, described our life suffering perfectly. In a way, we can confirm ourselves. This by itself allows us to believe that he is very possibly unerring, which cannot be said of those who do not describe our suffering in this way.
Yes.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's some things in Buddhism that are super evident, or at least to me, um, that you never hear any other religion or anyone talking about. Like the fact that you're gonna die any second and you could die any second. Stuff like that. Like the fact that your whole life is problems. Um, so I don't know. The Buddha seemed to have nailed it down very perfectly. So maybe he nailed down a couple other things. That's the point. All right. Thank you, translators. Translating me probably is painful. Okay. Any questions? Hmm? All right. Um, I'll have mixed nuts class tonight with my teacher if anybody wants to come. It's at 4 o'clock Arizona time. Do people want the link? Maybe. Maybe they want the link. I have the links here. Probably. Yeah, here you go. Milan says, "Where am I?" I say, "I'm in Samsara, unfortunately." Um, there you go. If you want to come tonight, it's 4 o'clock. I have class, then we're gonna have a discussion, and then we're gonna have an amazing class with Master Shantideva, um, led by Seiji. Okay. See you then, or in a few minutes for acupuncture point class. Bye. See you. Bye.
See you
Thank
later.
you. Thank you,
Thank you,
translator.
teacher. Thank you very much.
Teacher.
You're welcome. Thank you.